My parents were giving out Disney tickets to all the grandkids. When they reached my kid, oops, we miscounted. Then they smiled and gave the extras to my sister's kids' friends. While my kid watched, I didn't say a word. Can you imagine the moment your own family, the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally, make your child utterly invisible, giving away his dream right in front of his eyes? It wasn't just about tickets. It was a gut-wrenching, shocking betrayal that made me finally see everything. What the hell happened next? You're about to find out. My name is William. I'm 37. You probably know me. I'm the background guy, the driver, the one who just shows up. I'm a long-haul trucker with a thermos that probably smells like diesel and cinnamon, 3 high-vis jackets that never stay clean, and a dashboard St. Christopher with a chipped left foot. I know every way station between Amarillo and Joliet. I can sleep in a cab on a windy night, and I can back a 48-footer into a spot with 6 inches to spare. I don't make scenes. I make deliveries. I'm the fixer in my family. The sure, I'll cover it guy. The one who gets the group chat texts at 2 a.m. because, you're always up anyway, right? The one you can count on. The invisible version of dependable. It was my dad's birthday cookout. Backyard folding tables, that big cooler with the faded Lakers sticker from '99. We were told to bring sides. I came with deviled eggs and a cooler tray wedged between my son's soccer ball and a pack of wet wipes. My sister, Avery, arrived late, of course, with balloons and a ring light because she documents everything. Mom clapped her hands. Okay. Grandkids, to the patio. Grandpa has a surprise. They lined up like a tiny marching band. Avery's twins were in matching Disney crew shirts. Her oldest, Maya, had glitter on her eyelids. My son, Ethan, he's 8, was off to the side in a dinosaur tee. He picked it himself. Calls it his roar shirt. He doesn't like crowds, but he loves Grandpa, so he tried. Dad made a speech about memories that last forever. Then Mom pulled out an envelope stuffed with printed e-tickets. 4 for the twins, 1 for Maya. Mom was counting them like it was a game. Then she turned to Ethan. She hesitated. Oh, honey, she said to me, her voice dropping just a little. We miscounted. I'm sure we can figure something out later. Then, smile bright, shoulders back, she turned and handed the 2 extra tickets to the neighbor kids. They were there because their mom is friends with my sister's Pilates instructor. I felt Ethan's small hand slide into mine. He squeezed. I felt the soft callus where a pencil sits wrong. The one we're working on with his teacher. He whispered, It's okay, Dad. I like the zoo more anyway. Avery laughed. Not mean, just thoughtless. I promised the twins they could invite besties if there were extras. Sorry, Will. You know how it is. She ruffled Ethan's hair like he was a pet. Here's the thing. I didn't make a scene. I didn't take the tickets back. Didn't lecture anyone about fairness. Didn't drag out a spreadsheet of what I pay, who I help, or how many miles I drive to show up for this family. I just stood there, quiet. The smell of lighter fluid, overcooked hot dogs, sunscreen, and my son's hand in mine. I felt something tilt inside me, like a load shifting on a curve you've taken 100 times. Then Dad added to it. Just soft enough to sound like a joke. Just loud enough that I heard. William's boy is tough. He can sit this one out. We'll make it up at Christmas. Cousin snorted. The neighbor kids cheered. My mom said, We'll do something special with you later, sweetheart. To Ethan, but she never made eye contact. She was already angling the camera. I carried the deviled eggs back to the truck when we left. No one noticed. I'm not dramatic, but that was the first time I felt a line land between me and them, like a drawn curtain. Not slammed, not screamed, just there. Let me back up. This isn't about theme park tickets. It's about a stack of small cuts that looked like kindness when you squinted. I was the kid who fixed things. Garage door tracks, the lawnmower, the squeaky hinge on the pantry. You've always been so handy, Mom would say, and I swallowed whole all the times handy, felt like useful, felt like, you don't have needs that take up space. Avery was the golden one. She wasn't cruel. She just knew where the sunbeam was and stood in it. Cheer captain, then marketing pro, then mom of 3 with a feed full of smiling lunches and bento boxes. My parents glowed when she entered a room. When I showed up sweaty from a haul, they asked if I could take a quick look at the sink. Receipts. You want them? Okay. When my rig broke down in Davenport in February, I slept in the cab because hotels were a waste, according to Dad. I didn't argue. The next month, they asked me to spot Avery $5,000 for a bridge between freelance gigs. I wired it that day. When Ethan was born, I called my mom from the hospital parking lot where I'd run out to cry a little, because the nurse said he had a sensory profile we'd need to learn. He'll be fine, Mom said. Don't turn him into a project. Avery posted a miracle with a picture of my newborn where you could clearly see the hospital bracelet with his last name misspelled. I asked her to take it down. She forgot. 3 summers ago, Dad had a mild stroke. He recovered. But the house, my grandparents' place, it needed work. The roof curled like potato chips. The HVAC coughed dust. Mom said, "We can't lose the house, William. It's our legacy." She looked at me like I was the bank, the contractor, and the therapist in one package. "Avery's kids need a place to remember. Here's the number. About $330,000. That's the mortgage I took on. To keep the house. To keep the family. My credit. My monthly." I did the math on a paper placemat at a truck stop while Ethan drew dinosaurs on the back. I told myself it wasn't a burden. It was a way to fix something important. "We'll do it temporarily," they said. "Just until we sort title and a trust." Dad liked that word, trust. We went to a notary. Signed a thing that said we'd add me as co-owner upon final deed update. I took pictures of everything. I always do. Clause 4.7. I noticed it because it sounded specific. Equitable interest recognized concurrent with payment schedule. I Googled it in a parking lot. It sounded like adult protection. I exhaled. For 5 years I paid. Sometimes a little late, never more than 10 days. I routed it through a separate account so I could track every transaction. I replaced the roof, then the HVAC, then paid for tree removal after a storm. I fixed the banister Dad swears he'll get to when the season slows down. I handled property taxes when a bill got lost in the mail. I kept screenshots. I kept emails. I kept words like, "We'll square it soon," and "We owe you big," and "Just get it done. You're the only one who can." The Disney thing? It wasn't the first slap. It was just the one my son could see. 2 weeks later, I stopped by the county office on a Thursday. We haul paper out of a mill nearby, and I had an hour to kill before a pickup. The clerk behind the glass had a purple scrunchie and a sticker that said, "Ask me about plat maps." I asked if I could pull the current deed. "Just routine housekeeping." She typed. She frowned. She printed. "Owner of record," she said, passing the paper. "Elijah and Mary Carter, joint tenants. Transfer last recorded 3 months ago." "To whom?" She paused. "Correction. Transferred to Avery Benton 2 months later via quitclaim. Effective date." She turned the screen. There it was. My parents' names, then my sister's. My name was nowhere. I felt something cold and slow crawl up my spine. "Are you sure?" I asked. My voice steady, my palms damp. "There was an agreement. I've been paying the mortgage for 5 years." She shrugged in that practical clerk way. "Mortgage doesn't equal title. Happens a lot. You can request the full chain." She slid a form under the glass. I walked out with a manila envelope under my arm and a static buzz in my ears. I sat in the cab and read each page. Signatures, dates, my dad's slanted E's, my mom's careful M's. A notary stamp from the UPS store by the freeway. Then a document I hadn't seen. A quitclaim to Avery. "Family consolidation," it said, like it was a bag of rice. I called Mom. "Oh, well," she said, and her tone told me everything before her words did. "You know how complicated paperwork is. We needed to simplify for estate planning. Avery has the kids. It just makes sense. You know, we'd never put me on the deed." I finished. I was so calm. Surprised even me. "Don't be dramatic," she said. "It's all one family pot. Here's the thing." I didn't yell. I didn't throw the phone. I hung up. Then I opened a new notes folder on my phone and labeled it House Receipts. I started quietly. No posts, no group chat essays. I requested a copy of the notary journal. I exported 5 years of bank statements. I downloaded every email thread with subject lines like, "Roof estimate," and "Property tax reminder," and "I'll Venmo later, promise." I screenshotted the clause I'd noticed years ago. For point 7, with the sentence, "Equitable interest recognized concurrent with payment schedule." I saved the text where Dad wrote, "We'll add your name at Christmas, son." Christmas came and went. Then the next one. I kept driving. I ate in my cab and folded the manila envelope under the mattress. I told Ethan we'd do the zoo next weekend. He asked if dinosaurs ever got evicted. I said, "Not the smart ones." 3 weeks later, Avery sent a message in the family chat. "Housewarming at ours. Clinking glasses, new paint, new curtains. Can't wait for you to see all the work we've put in." She attached a selfie in front of the porch. The porch I rebuilt during a heatwave while Dad supervised from a lawn chair with a sweet tea. I typed, "Congrats." I didn't send it. The problem wasn't that they forgot me. It was that they remembered me only as a resource. The driver. The checkbook. The guy who could be counted on to not make a mess while he cleaned up theirs. The housewarming was on a Sunday. Family only plus a couple of close friends. I parked on the street, even though the driveway had space, because the last time I parked there, Dad said, "Watch the oil drip." I prepared like I do for a road inspection. Everything labeled. Printouts in a binder because papers calm me. A thumb drive in my pocket because redundancy also calms me. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to state facts. Inside, the couch was new. The rug was new. The smell was that fake clean they sell in candle form. Guests said, "So bright." Like brightness equals ownership. The twins ran circles around the coffee table. Ethan stuck to my leg. Avery hugged me with her arms. Not her torso. The kind of hug that says, "Don't wrinkle my dress." "Isn't it amazing?" she said, sweeping a hand. "We really poured ourselves into this. You'll appreciate the craftsmanship." "I do," I said. It was true. I've always appreciated good work. Dad clapped me on the shoulder. "Son," he boomed. "You made it. I was worried you'd be on the road." "I'm here," I said. I looked at Mom. She was busy arranging mini quiches. She didn't look at me. We did cake because Avery likes to sing for herself. Then she tinked a glass. "Quick toast," she said. "To family, and fresh starts. And building a home my kids can grow up in." The room hummed with, "Oh, how nice." Ethan was tracing the wood grain on the table with one finger. He whispered, "This is your table, right?" "It's our family's table," I said. My voice did not shake. After the toast, I asked, "Quiet. Can we talk?" "Just the five of us." I meant me, Mom, Dad, Avery, and because fairness, Ethan. He's a person. He lives here, too, in his own way. We sat in the dining room. The new chandelier hummed. "I'll be quick," I said. I placed the binder on the table. Avery rolled her eyes like binders are for boring men. I opened to tab 1. Mortgage payments. 5 years. $329,784.18. Rounded to $330,000 if we're speaking casually. My account to the lender. You can see the routing. Tab 2. Receipts for roof, HVAC, taxes, tree removal. Tab 3. Emails. We'll add your name at Christmas. Temporary structure until we amend the deed. Tab 4. A printout of the notary agreement from 5 years ago. Clause 4.7 in yellow. Equitable interest recognized concurrent with payment schedule. Avery made a scoff that sounded like a laugh. "What is this? We're trying to have a party." Mom cut in. "We've always said." I held up a palm. "I'm not here to argue. I'm here to put words in the same room as actions." Then I slid across the last page. The county deed record. Avery's name. My absence. Dad looked at it like it was a parking ticket we could blame on a broken meter. "We told you," he said. "Estate planning. Your sister has children. It had to be simple. You're so independent, William. You don't need anchoring like she does." "It's not about need," I said. "It's about honesty." Avery leaned forward. "We invited your kid to every birthday. You can't make this about Disney." I looked at Ethan. He was counting the crystals on the chandelier. "This isn't about revenge," I said, each word like a smooth stone. "This is about closure." Dad's jaw worked. "What exactly are you after?" "Boundaries," I said. "An acknowledgement. Put my name back where your words say it belongs. Or compensate me in writing for the full amount I've paid plus the repairs. And stop using my kid's patience as proof I can absorb being last." Silence. Not heavy, just precise. Avery smiled with zero warmth. "Lawyer up then, if you want to make this ugly." "I don't want ugly," I said. "I want accurate." Clause 4.7. We all initialed it. I have the notary log. I have the emails. I have the transfers. I have Dad's text on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. "We'll record it next week, son." Dad blustered. "You're being ungrateful for paying your mortgage?" I asked. "For keeping the lights on? For the roof that doesn't leak on your grandkids?" Mom snapped. It was small, but it was there. "You're making your father feel bad after everything he's done." Ethan spoke for the first time. "Quiet. Do we live here?" Avery opened her mouth. I didn't let her answer for my son. "No, buddy," I said. "We don't live here." I stood up. "So here's what happens next," I said, still calm. "Tomorrow I'll send a letter. It will list amounts and dates. It will include the clause and the notary info and the timeline. It will offer 2 options. Add me to the deed as equal owner, or buy out what I've put in. It will give you 14 days. I won't argue about past Christmases or tickets or who deserves what. I will not be in the group chat for this part. You can go through my representative." Avery snorted. "Representative?" I looked her in the eye. "An attorney, Avery. Not because I'm suing you today. Because I'm done being the only adult at this table without paper." I closed the binder. The chandelier hum felt louder. Then the first phone buzzed in the living room. Then another. Then mine. My screen lit up like a slot machine. Dad's missed call. Mom's text. "William, stop this." Aunt Karen heard a rumor. "Uncle Tim, you're embarrassing your father." Avery. "I will not be threatened in my own home." And oddly, one from the neighbor's Pilates friend. "Wow, classy." I took Ethan's hand. We're heading out, I said. Congratulations on the paint. It's a good color. We stepped onto the porch. The sky had that late Sunday tint that makes you think about school lunches and early mornings. My phone buzzed again. I turned it off. The next morning, 7:12 a.m., I sat in a strip mall office with a plant that wasn't fooling anyone. The sign said Mason and Hole, Real Estate and Family. The receptionist had an alarming number of sticky notes. I had my binder and a small bag of pretzels because my blood sugar likes boundaries too. The attorney, Hole, the younger one, listened. He didn't blink at the family parts. He underlined numbers. He circled clause 4.7. This helps, he said. I like that you kept the notary page. Most people don't. He typed a letter that was simple and not angry. Sometimes simplicity feels like power. We sent it certified. We sent an email copy. The subject line, equitable interest, demand for cure, clean, no adjectives. By noon, the group chat was a bonfire. You're selfish, Aunt Karen wrote. You know your sister has 3 kids. Think of the kids. Dad texted separately because he knows guilt fits easier when it's private. You're ruining us. Avery wrote. Do you want my children homeless? 26 missed calls in 4 hours. Then 39. I stopped looking. Mom left a voicemail where she cried on minute 2 and then sounded normal on minute 3 to ask if I could still pick up folding chairs for the church. I didn't respond. Hull responded for me, always with the same 2 sentences. Communicate through counsel. We remain open to resolving quickly. Boundaries. They escalated anyway, like people do when the old levers stop working. Dad. You'll regret this. Families don't keep score. Me. We did for 5 years. We just did it in my account. Aunt Karen called my ex. Mara, are you okay? William's having some kind of episode. Mara, to her credit, texted me a screenshot with 3 words. Want me blocking? I said, yes, please. She did. Avery posted a picture of her kids on the porch with a caption about choosing joy in hard seasons, and a Bible verse that I'm sure means something in a different context. Her friends commented heart emojis. One of them messaged me, be kind to your sister. I didn't reply. Meanwhile, road life went on. I drove to Omaha with paper rolls, to Tulsa with ketchup packets, to Topeka with parts for a place that makes snowplows. I started sleeping again. I stopped checking my phone in truck stop bathrooms. I started letting it ring like a distant storm I didn't have to drive into. Ethan and I built new routines. On my short weeks, we ate pancakes at the diner where they know he likes chocolate chips, but not too many. We planted basil in a window box. We played a road game where we invent stupid billboard slogans. Dad, he said once, chewing thoughtfully, what happens if we don't go to that house anymore? We still have a home, I said. It just doesn't have a porch with a chandelier. He nodded like that made sense. Kids understand more than we give them credit for. Day 6, Hull sent a second letter because the first one got theatrically lost. Day 9, Avery's husband emailed something that read like a blog comment. We feel attacked. Hull replied with 3 bullet points and a PDF. Day 12, Mom texted, we'll add you to the deed if you stop the drama. I forwarded it to Hull. He said, ask for the draft. We asked. They sent a proposal that put me on title as a permissive occupant with no rights to proceeds on sale. Avery added a smiley face. I sent Hull a single word. No. Day 14. Hull recorded a notice of interest. Nothing scary, just a piece of paper that says, we exist. So title companies can't pretend we don't. He sent another letter. This one firmer. Absent good faith plan, we will proceed. We didn't threaten. We stated. The calls changed flavor. Okay, Dad said in a voicemail. We can talk, but we're not doing 50-50. Avery has more mouths to feed. Ethan is a mouth, I said to my silent cab. I feed him. We can do a payment plan, Mom said. You don't need it all at once. I needed it when the roof was a sieve, I said to the basil plant. It was getting taller. 20 to 50 calls a day. Then cousins I hadn't seen since 2013 chimed in with paragraphs about loyalty. I muted everything. Hull set a rule. If they text, send to me. If they call, don't answer. If they post, ignore. This was not punishment. This was hygiene. I worried about Ethan. I won't lie. I worried that my calm would feel like neglect. So I did what I know how to do. I kept showing up on time. I told him the truth in kid-sized pieces. Grandma and Grandpa made a mistake, I said. We're asking them to fix it. He asked, are we mad? We're careful, I said. We're allowed to be careful. On day 18, Avery left a message. Fine, we'll buy you out. I exhaled, and then I read the number she sent. It was missing a digit or 2. She'd subtracted wear and tear, family discount, time we housed you as a teenager, and emotional labor. Hull wrote back, please find attached the actual math. He attached the receipts, the amortization, the invoices with my signature. Day 21. Dad texted, "You're making your mother sick with stress." I stared at it a full minute. Then I put my phone face down and made spaghetti with Jared sauce, because not everything has to be artisanal to be good. For weeks from the housewarming, a certified letter came to my P.O. box. White envelope, Avery's neat print. I brought it home, set it on the counter, and walked around it like it might explode. I opened it with a butter knife. A check. Not the right amount, but not insulting. A draft of a deed addendum scribbled by someone who watched a law show once. And a sticky note from Mom. "Let's be a family." I sat at the table and stared at the check until the basil plant looked like a small forest. I didn't cash it. I sent a photo to Hole. He said, "Progress. Now we aim for the right number in writing with real signatures." Meanwhile, Christmas planning started in the group chat because time is a wheel and tradition is a script. Elf Night, Secret Santa, Disney in February, final headcount. I typed nothing. I read to Ethan from a book about trucks. He asked if Basil can ride in a trailer. I said, "Probably not unless it's going to a restaurant." I slept 8 hours that night, the first time in months. It didn't end in a courtroom. It ended at a title company next to a dry erase calendar with "Happy Fiscal Year" in blue marker. 2 months after the housewarming, after back and forths that never got dramatic because we kept them on paper, we signed. Whole read each line out loud, because details matter. The check was correct this time. Amounts matched the math. The addendum said what clause 4.7 already promised years ago. Equitable interest recognized. If they kept the house, I'd be on title. If they ever sold, I'd be paid proportionally. They chose the latter. "Clean slate," Dad said, like he was doing me a favor. Avery didn't come. She sent her husband. He didn't meet my eyes when he slid the pen back. That was fine. I handed over the extra keys I'd kept on a ring since the summer I fixed their porch. They were worn smooth at the edges. I set them on the table. The metal sound was tiny and final. Here's the last thing I'll say. This isn't a revenge story. I didn't post a victory lap. I didn't buy a banner that said, "Told you so." I drove to a truck stop, ate a BLT at the counter, and texted my son a picture of a toy dinosaur next to my coffee. He sent me back a photo of the basil plant. It had 3 new leaves. A year later, my life is smaller. In the best way. Fewer calls, fewer emergencies that pretend to be urgent. More pancakes. I say no more than I used to, and yes to the right things. I still drive nights. I still know the way station hours by heart. I still keep binders. Christmas came and went without a Disney conversation. We spent that Saturday at the Science Museum, because Ethan likes the planetarium and, in his words, "Stars don't need lines." We held hands in the dark while a fake sky spun. I realized I wasn't holding on for balance anymore. I was just holding on. Mom texted on New Year's brunch, "Start fresh." I stared at the screen until the bubbles stopped. I set the phone down. I made French toast. I did not reply. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're a map. My name is William. I'm a truck driver. I am not the family wallet. I am not the backup plan. I am a father. I paid the mortgage. I kept the receipts. I asked for closure and got it. I don't need an invitation to a place that required me to vanish to fit. Somewhere in a drawer at the title company, there's a file with my name on it where it belongs. On my counter, there's a tiny pot of basil. And on my fridge, a drawing by my son that says, "Dad's truck," and shows a rectangle with a smile. I'm not dramatic. I'm done being invisible. And if you're holding a ticket that was supposed to be mine, keep it. What would you have done if your family blindsided you like this? I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.